We're here with Professor Howard Zinn. Welcome, center stage.
Thank you.
Tell me about this concept. Can we ever really have a just war?
I don't think so anymore. If we ever could in the past, the technology of warfare has reached the point where war is always the indiscriminate killing of huge numbers of people. I mean, wars at one time were fought between armies. Soldiers killed soldiers. Now, and we heard tonight Dr. Gino Strada, the Italian war surgeon, tell us that the victims that he takes care of in the hospitals in Afghanistan and Iraq are 90% civilians, 30% of them children. In a situation like this, war cannot be accepted anymore as a way of solving any of the problems we have in the world.
Where do we get this concept of an idealized war?
Well, we get it from the teaching of generations and nationalism and the idea that nations have that, when they go to war for good reasons, for liberty, for democracy. And some of the wars better fit that description than others. World War II better fit that description. The Civil War better fit that description, ending slavery. The Revolutionary War. But as I say, we've gone past that point where wars can be considered just. And many of the wars of the past so obviously unjust, that didn't even have the moral core, let us say, of the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, wars like the war we fought in Cuba in 1898, the war against the Philippines at the turn of the century, the war in Vietnam, and the war against Panama, against Grenada, the first Gulf War, the bombing of Afghanistan. Now wars have to be no longer categorized as just and unjust. War itself is unjust. In fact, we're so consumed now with fear of terrorism, justified, there is terrorism in the world, but it should be remembered that war is the greatest terrorism. There's no human damage done by bands of terrorists like Al-Qaeda that can possibly match the human damage done by governments possessed of enormous weaponry. So the reason for war today simply cannot be accepted.
As a good citizen, do we have an obligation to go to war?
Our obligation is not to the government. Our obligation is to the principles that our country is supposed to stand for. The government is an artificial creation. This is what the Declaration of Independence says. The Declaration of Independence says governments are set up by the people to achieve certain ends, an equal right to life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. When governments become destructive of those ends, that's the language of the Declaration of Independence, when governments become destructive of those ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish the government. Obedience to government is the sign of a totalitarian state. Disobedience to government is a democratic act when that government is not fulfilling its obligation to care for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
When we wage war against another country, do we in turn become that which we seek to destroy?
I think we've seen that historically. That we start out being the good guys, and war corrupts everybody. We've seen it just now. War has corrupted our soldiers, just ordinary guys. Their minds become poisoned by the atmosphere of war, and soon they are killing innocent people, soon they are torturing people. War is poisonous to everybody who engages in it.
Is it human nature to go to war?
The human beings fundamentally do not want war, and the proof that it's not in human nature is that governments have to go to enormous lengths to either seduce, propagandize, coerce their populations to go to war. No, fundamentally, instinctually, people do not want war.
Well, Professor Zinn, thank you so much. I know you've got a really busy schedule. The book is it's called Just War, and it's a new book by Howard Zinn. Thank you so much, and keep fighting the good fight.
Thanks.